Welcome to RetroLogic. I'm Dan Caporello, here with John Cummins and Sam Wagers and Shannon Eno, and we're back with another episode of RetroLogic, which is where you are right now. You're in the RetroLogic zone. Do you guys remember Discovery Zone? Speaking of zones, how many of you know what Discovery Zone is?
I don't know.
No?
Not
Sam,
ringing a
Discovery Zone?
We have a Discovery Zone in my town that's like a kids science center type place.
Yeah.
So Discovery Zone was like a 90s, had to be 90s, like Chuck E. Cheese kind of thing, except it was mostly like an indoor playscape. And I still remember the theme song from the commercials. DZ, Discovery Zone, where I can cut loose and do on my own, or something like that. And if you were in the Northeast in the 90s, you know what Discovery Zone is. And if you weren't, you just don't. And so that's why I ask if you know what Discovery Zone is, because you either do or you don't. All that being said, RetroLogic isn't just about old stuff. It's not just a podcast about old stuff. It's also a community about old stuff. We've got an active, friendly, and free Discord community with giveaways and contests, and you could dive into our family of retro podcasts like RetroGroove, a music history podcast, and On Topic Retro, a podcast dedicated to one video game per episode, hosted by our very own John Cummins. And you can find everything on our website, retrologic.games. What have y'all been up to this week? Tell me one thing you guys that's going on in your week. John, what's going on, dude?
I'm kind of wrapping up my construction down the last little bit. So I've been not playing games, but doing some stuff, working on consoles and repairing some things and going through my stuff to move some of it out to the new area that I'm building. So
yeah,
just kind of reminiscing and going through some things.
When your kids go back to school?
I think a week from Wednesday. I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah, mine are going back Wednesday this week, and I it could not be better timing. We are the cabin fever has hit. We are done.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's time. It is time. What about you, Shannon? Anything going on this week?
We have finally completed most of our landscaping remodel for the front of our house that we've been working on for a long time, so that's good. Other than that, if I use the term week a little loosely, I would just say that one exciting thing was Eric Plunk got me through him, got his copy of The Legend of Zelda for the Famicom Disk System. Ooh. So that's been one of my holy grail items for a long time. So very much appreciative to him for that. Eric Plunk's a great guy.
Now you just need a disk system.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we just need a disk system. That's right.
Eric Plunk is an OG RetroLogic member. He's definitely one of our favorites.
Yeah.
For show. He won the Wave Race in the last Free Stuff Friday.
Nice.
Yeah. So well deserved.
Awesome.
Well deserved. What about you, Sam? What's going on?
Not too much. I did finally pick up the Turtles Cowabunga collection for the Switch.
Yes.
Last weekend. I was actually playing that with Shannon, Tim, and Chris for NSO Friday. So got a chance to take advantage of the online features to get through the 2 arcade games on there.
Nice.
Sweet. Yeah, that's a great collection. Absolutely bangarang. Awesome. Sweet. Well, what's going on with me this week? I don't know, just trying to get the kids back to school, man. Like
trying to fast forward time.
Yeah, we ran out of camps. They were at camps for most of the weeks this summer, but this last week we just had no camp. So, trying to balance like working from home, but also like y'all need to figure out what you're doing with your day because I'm working. So go do what you do. But a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old like left to fend for themselves in my house all day. So we're gonna be cleaning. We're gonna be getting things in order for everyone to go back to normal. Yeah, so not a lot going on other than that. And then the rest of my time, I'm playing PS2 games, so I'll be talking about that later in the show. Some quick housekeeping for all the RetroLogic family stuff going on. Sam, anything going on with the blog or your streaming? I saw you were on earlier.
Yep.
Doing some Mega Man.
Still doing Battle Network 5, which,
Dang.
I've said before, probably is my favorite of the series. This is the one that added kind of like tactics battles interspersed throughout the game, so I really enjoy that. It's kind of fun playing on the collection, too, because you get access to some of the e-reader stuff that was never released outside Japan. The cards themselves, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So,
okay, right on. John, any new on topic retro or blog stuff? Nothing yet?
Oh man, no.
You've been busy.
Yeah, I've kind of been on hiatus. I unintentionally. I know, like RetroGroove kind of does their summer hiatus, and
yeah,
I unintentionally have been pretty much on hiatus as well. I think
right. Yeah,
about a month and a half.
Summers are a little rough.
Month and a half. Nothing.
I decided to come back to the show in the summer, and then everybody's like, "We're."
You came back at the right time because, like, you let me take a day off, and
oh yeah, that worked out.
Yeah,
good.
But no, I need to get some stuff going. Been trying to get people together for the Minish Cap episode, maybe later this week. Today's Monday, so we got time.
Yeah, good deal.
And then as far as I need to get another Retro Rewind voting up, and we'll pick a game, start it up again.
Okay, rock and roll. FilmLogic, they are a little delayed on their episodes as well. It's summertime. We're going to give everyone a pass. But their summer awards are coming up. They call them the Summies. And they have some very interesting categories, best franchise sequel, unnecessary sequel, and then your typical best action, best drama, those kinds of things. You can go and talk about all that in our Discord. They've got a whole channel dedicated to that. So that's going to be a good episode coming out soon. RetroGroove is also on summer hiatus. They're coming back soon. But they have a stacked backlog. So definitely check out. You could pick any episode of RetroGroove and hit go, and you're going to have a good time because those guys just know how to talk music. And then Shannon, anything new over at the Star Wars Dads?
Probably be recording and getting out an episode this week talking about the D23 Star Wars news. So look forward to that.
Yeah, sweet. Awesome, man. Remember to keep me in the loop. You guys do a Shadow of the Empire episode.
For sure. That'd be great.
I'm your guy for Shadows of the Empire N64.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since all that's out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into The Price is Retro. If this is your first time playing The Price is Retro, here's how we play. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games. Everyone else has to guess how much the lot is worth in total. Whoever's closest, the actual value, wins that round. Each of us have a list, and everybody guesses on each other's lists. At the end, the player that won the most rounds wins the episode. But watch out for our Rampage trio, the robot, the ghost, and the dinosaur. They'll have their own different mechanisms of guessing. There are AI players they're not really AI, they just have rules. But whatever, why not be trendy? That's the rules, and if you don't understand it, well, just listen along and you'll get it soon enough. Everybody got a list? I think we all.
Yep.
I was the last one to get my list right before the show, so oops, a little peek behind the curtain. Great. Well, then let's go ahead and go around. I'm going to go ahead and go first this time. So I don't really know who went first ever, but I'm going to go ahead and go first.
He just wants to say his list.
I do. I really want to. It's a good list. So my this episode is just a topic roundtable where we each kind of pick what we've been working on or playing lately and chat about it. And my topic is PS2 games, because I've been really digging into the PS2 back library since I never owned one, and now I do. So, but my list is all PS2 game collections on the PS3. So, here we go. We've got Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection for PS3, complete in box. Ratchet and Clank collection for the PS3, complete in box. Jack and Daxter collection for the PS3, complete in box. And the Sly collection for PS3, also complete in box. All right. Let me grab my notes. And John, go ahead and guess first.
I'm going to say 140.
All right.
Okay, I've
Shannon?
Oh.
Sorry.
Am I not next?
I'm trying to keep an order going.
Good, yeah. It helps us keep a track. Yeah.
I've got 105.
All right. And Sam?
I kid you not, that was my guess. So I guess I'll go $1 lower and go 104.
All right.
Okay.
That's a sticky situation. All right. Actual retail price is $118.67, and I believe that is Shannon.
Unless one of the Rampagers is going to steal it, but
yeah,
we know the Ghost won't.
Hold on.
Yeah, Ghost is out of there. Ghost guess is 300.
So the Ghost is out, the Dino's out.
So Dino should be out.
I
don't think
actually
got it.
the robot does have it.
Gosh darn it!
He's only off by $2.34.
Jeez.
Next closest was Shannon.
Problem was we guessed
so the
the
robot. For the listeners at home, the robot averages.
I made the robot win. I made the robot win with
You
my
did.
guess.
Yeah.
So
That's the average.
So what was your values of each game?
Okay, so we've got Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, which is $13. So that's probably the best deal on any game you're going to buy on PS3. By the way, Ratchet and Clank collection is $34.99. Jack and Daxter collection is $23.72, and the Sly collection is $46.96, which surprised me. I expected all these to be $20.
Yeah, I knew
I
the
was so
Sly
close
one was
except for that
more.
last one.
I knew the Sly one was more, and I had everything
thinking.
else at like around 30, so that's why I was a little bit higher.
Yeah, they're a little high than I thought. And that Shadow of the Colossus price is just banana. I don't understand why.
I mean, if you have a PS4, just buy the remaster because it is better. But if you only have a PS3, yeah, get that one. It's good.
all right. Next up, we'll do John's list.
All right. So my list is Bomberman themed. And it's gonna
So weird, John.
Yeah.
You like Bomberman or something?
Well, I just been on a.
Never saw that
I've been
coming.
on a kick. I bought a couple Bomberman games, and that I didn't have.
Sweet. You bought.
I'm more surprised
Super
that there are that
Bomberman?
many Bomberman games you don't have.
It's getting down to right. There's like some Japanese ones I don't have, but
You bought Super Bomberman 2 from me. That's right.
Yeah, I also bought.
Do you have the It released in Europe, I think. Do you have the Bomberman like sports spin-off?
No, that's another one. Like I said, I'm starting to
Forget
get
what
down to
that's called.
some unique ones that are not US based. So, but I am getting there.
Bomberman needs more spin-offs.
Yeah, I mean, there for a while it was the way that they were kind of framing it. It was almost going to be like Mario, like they had their kart racer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
We need more of that.
board game type one, RPG.
Bomberman the character
Quest.
is great.
Yep. Speaking of, so the first thing on my list is not a game, but the multi-tap, the Super Multi-Tap 2, which has Bomberman's head as the multi-tap.
I need one of those so bad.
And I have that one complete in box. The next one is Bomberman Quest for the Game Boy Color. This one is loose. The next game is Bomberman Fantasy Race for the PlayStation complete in box.
Yeah.
And then the last game is Bomberman 93 for the TurboGrafx 16 Loose.
Loose.
Yep.
These are all things you just bought?
No, these are all things that I own and the conditions that I own them. Bomberman 93 is the newest. Bomberman 93 and Multi-Tap 2 I got it pretty close at the same time.
All right. Okay. Gosh, that TurboGrafx game is going to throw me off, but whatever. Shannon, you're the first to guess whenever you're ready.
Yeah, a couple of these are going to be rough. I'm going to go with 330.
Okay. Sam?
I've got 520.
Ooh, boy.
Okay.
Wow.
Sam usually goes low too.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm Sam in this instance. I've got 240.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I forgot to put the dyno in. So just take a second. And
Yeah, I love Bomberman. Just the character of Bomberman is like his little head and his like he's so well designed.
okay.
Simple but effective.
Do you own that like gritty reboot
Yes.
Xbox 360 game?
Yeah, I have it too.
It's like, unfortunately, I
Yeah,
do.
it's not that great.
The cover is just so awful.
I don't know what they were thinking, but
It's terrible, man.
I guess the franchise had kind of died out by then for long enough that
Yeah, but that's not
I
going to bring
still
it
remember
back.
when
No.
like there was rumors that like there was going to be a Mega Man game that was like the same thing.
yeah.
Gosh.
Well, Bomberman bit the bullet. There probably was, and then they released Bomberman. They're like, no, this is going in the trash now. Might as well not release
Yeah.
it.
No way.
All right, so the total of my
Capcom
lot.
was like, we're good with Resident Evil.
And Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Total of my lot is $355.21.
I'm not that far off.
That's definitely
We'll
Shannon
see.
again.
So
Don't you even tell me that.
the robot I think strikes again
No.
Come on.
because so and I believe it's Dan's fault
Oh,
because
gosh.
well, since you went last, you went so low
Yeah.
and Sam went so high that it put him right in that
Jeez.
spot.
Golly.
So he was only $8.12 off.
Shannon cannot catch a break.
And Shannon was $25.21.
Dang it. All right. Well, that's Price is Retro.
Freaking Deus Ex Machina. Ex whatever.
See, this is what we
Deus-
were.
Wait, hold up. Deus Guess Machina. My bad.
Whenever Sam and I were thinking about the robot, this is like exactly what we were wanting. But it was so hard to do because we only ever had the two of us for most of the time. It never worked.
Well, it's back with a vengeance now.
Even
It
with
is.
3, it usually doesn't.
Yeah, but with 4,
You
it
need
works like
4. It
4
starts to
works
work
like
really well.
yeah. It's
All right.
basically like Terminator. So the rundown for mine is the Super Multi-Tap 2 complete in box for the Super Famicom is $59.30.
Okay. That's the one I thought was like, yeah, complete in box like this.
No,
I
but
don't
they're
know.
pretty
I never
cheap
looked
though.
at
They're
that
they're
before.
everywhere. The
Yeah.
Japanese ones. Yeah.
They sold very well. The next game, Bomberman Quest for the Game Boy Color, loose, $66.60.
I was a little low on that one. Not too bad.
Next is Bomberman Fantasy Race for the PlayStation, complete in box, $99.31. And the last game, Bomberman 93 for the TurboGrafx 16, loose, is $130.
That's the one. I knew it was going to bite me in the butt.
And this is, I have it on my desk because it's so nice, but my copy is like so
at that.
pristine. It's like shiny,
Beautiful.
minty.
Ooh.
I have that on my Turbo Mini.
I don't think anyone ever played it before I put it in my analog pocket.
Nice.
Amazing.
Okay, next.
All right, it is Shannon's turn.
All right. I don't know what made me think of this theme, but I decided to do LJN games that don't completely suck. I'll just say that.
All 4 of them?
Well, I actually have 5 here.
Oh,
You could make a case that somebody say, I mean, don't get your hopes up here. It's still
it's
LGN,
subjective.
but it's subjective.
It's okay.
Or at least
Yeah,
ones
it's fine.
that I had a good time playing. All right. The first one is probably, to me, the best of the bunch of any of the games they put out. And that's Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage. For the Super Nintendo, I did the Super Nintendo in Complete in Box. Just to make this a little more fun.
Mm-hmm. Fun. Is this fun?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Second one is the Incredible Crash Dummies for the Game Boy Loose.
Oh, Crash
Back when the
Dummies.
Crash Dummies were kind of like everywhere.
Yeah.
I think there was even a
Cool.
TV show for a while.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
I had some figures. Yeah, that was cool.
Third game is Pictionary for the NES Loose.
You played Pictionary on the NES, and that was like fun for you.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Okay, that's fine.
It's got that Tim Follin soundtrack, you know.
Yes,
At least
exactly.
there's
It did bang. That's yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the NES Loose? I played the heck out of that game.
Mm-hmm.
The Game Boy version was actually Capcom.
There's 2 versions of it. One of them was Capcom, one Sunsoft.
Oh, really?
They're both
the Game Boy?
they're both the same game, different publishers.
Huh. Well, the one I have is Capcom. Interesting.
Yeah, I've got a complete in box Sunsoft one.
That's crazy. And the last one is Gotcha, the Sport, NES. 3-screw edition. There's a 5-screw one that's worth according to price charting is like $25,000. So not that one. Sorry, complete in box though. Complete in box.
That would have been a funny one.
That would have
Are
been
these
fun.
are these all complete in box?
No, just the first one, last one. So just Spider-Man and
All right.
the Gotcha, the Sport.
Okay. All right.
Just to make it a little more interesting.
Sam is the first guesser, so whenever you
Yeah,
have a guess,
I'm
Sam.
way off today, so we'll see. I got
You're no robot.
$222.
222.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Okay, my guess is 180.
This is very dangerous because we're all very close. I was thinking 200.
Oh gosh.
Ooh,
You know what that means?
This could be anybody's then. So the total is 213.
I think that's me.
I think that's Sam.
Hold on.
Yep,
Sam has it this time.
201.
Yep, Sam has it this time.
Sam
what's
actually
that?
got it.
Okay.
All right. There's no robot. It's gonna steal it from us.
No, the robot was $12.33 off. Sam was $9. So
Wow.
he was
Good
the
job, Sam.
next. Yeah, the robot was next in line because I was at 13, and the robot would have beat me.
Way to fight
But
back.
the trio does take the game because my list is next and I can't guess on it. So
Oh yeah,
I
this is
can't
true.
even tie
Well,
them and win the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Shannon, what were your game's values before we forget?
Yeah, Spider-Man for the Super Nintendo completed box was $156. That was definitely the high point here. Is the Incredible Crash Dummies for Game Boy Loose was $9. Pictionary Loose for the Nintendo, $9. Who Framed Roger Rabbit Loose for the NES, $12. And Gotcha the Sport 3-screw complete in box is $27.
You should have just thrown that 5-screw in. To mess with
That
everything.
really would have.
Really kill that robot.
Now I'm kind of curious, like what your guys' breakdown was, because I was not thinking that the first game was that valuable.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
had that was definitely the highest. I only had it at 100 though.
I thought the Crash Test Dummies was going to be more valuable. Because isn't there a Crash Test Dummy game that is valuable?
I think so. It came out for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy, but Game Boy was the only one I had played.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with that one. But yeah,
I just think it's funny that we were all relatively around the same value.
Yeah.
And I had and like my breakdown was not even close.
Yeah.
I actually
right.
did guess the first one, pulling most of it. I had that at about 120. So
Oh yeah. Sam, it's your list, bud.
right once in a while. All right, get ready because this is a list. Yeah, these are all going to be complete in box because why not?
Mega Man games.
First off, I have Magic Crayons for the Sega Pico.
Oh,
gosh.
come on.
Is this loose?
No, complete. Everything's complete. Everything
Awesome.
complete in box.
Magic crayons for the Pico.
Let's go.
Followed by Crayola Crayons, Create a World for the Sega Pico.
Oh, gosh.
Crayon
Damn it,
Factory for the CDI. And lastly, Crayon Shin-chan 3, Ora no Gokigen Athletic for the Game Boy.
What do you mean? So we just got to all completely
And
just guess
obviously
random
that's
numbers.
a Japanese title, so
Yeah.
you know.
Uh,
I try not to do that. So
You could at
those
least
games
got
actually
the-
started coming out internationally on the Switch, but when they're
That's what I was gonna
localized, they
say.
leave the crayon off the name, so it wouldn't have fit the obvious
Oh.
theme here.
yeah, it just says
It's just,
Shin-chan,
it's just
doesn't it?
Shin-chan when it's in
Yeah.
English. So
Put the crayon back in, guys. Come on.
Oh,
We like
jeez.
crayons.
I have no clue. It's a good thing Shannon's going first, isn't it? Or Dan?
No.
I already did. I was going to say, I already went first.
I'm glad I'm not going
and
first.
I'm trying to decide whether to go with my actual guess or to just throw a curveball out there. Yeah, why not? Okay, I'm gonna say 110. Pico games. John, you.
I was thinking 130, so glad you were there.
Oh, crap, because I have 120.
Oh my god.
which technically means so does the robot, but
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
splitting the difference exactly. Okay, well, it is lower than all your guesses, so the robot does not take it. The total is $93.92.
All right, that's me
I
then.
think Dan was the closest.
Yep, for sure.
So Magic Crayons for the Sega Pico,
Oh.
$15.50.
Dang it. You know what, though? I don't have the Sega Pico as a
For the
Oh,
Dino.
for the dinosaur?
Dino. Yeah,
Well,
'cause
then-
he
It's
might
okay.
have been-
Nobody's ready
I was
for the
gonna
Sega
say.
Pico.
You know, I think
he's
it's
just,
safe to
he
say.
forfeits that.
I mean, the
What's
game
the
was already
MSRP?
won by the Rampart's already, Monsters have already
Yeah,
that's
won
true.
anyway,
Whether they
so
win it by 1 or by 3.
yeah. So
I was just thinking, I was like, man, I don't have a way to calculate this because you had 2 Sega Pico games in there. Oh, well.
Bananas is what that is. That's bananas.
okay, what was the breakdown though?
Yeah, the breakdown: Magic Crayons for the Sega Pico, complete $15.50. Crayon Factory for the CDI, also complete $25.50. Crayola Crayons Create a World for the Sega Pico, $33.92, the most expensive one in the lot. And Crayon Shin-chan 3 for the Game Boy, Japanese, was $19.
Well, I was really close on the second and the fourth there. Like really close, within cents. But that didn't help us, so.
No. Shan, if you and the robot
Duh,
episode need to
right?
just go away. No more.
Jeez. It was
I was
rough.
trying to see if I could do a quick hunt down of how much a Sega Pico game cost.
Good luck.
$45.
Give us that trivia card.
All right, trivia card. This one's actually a little more modern. At least the first one. In Life is Strange, protagonist Max Caulfield is a student of which subject at Blackwell Academy?
Alchemy.
Art.
Yeah, this is the Life is Strange, but I don't know the
Yeah.
I have no idea.
name of the academy.
You don't need to know the academy. You just got to know what subject she studies there?
English.
Tattooing.
English. Actually, Sam was the closest with art. It was photography, apparently.
Okay.
That's an art form. I say it counts.
If
There you go.
So is alchemy.
if Blanco was listening to our podcast, he would be yelling at us right now.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
He's all over that.
All right, a little more retro here. In what year was the first game in the Guitar Hero series released?
2005.
That was spoken with
2003.
confidence.
Yes.
That sounds right. Sure.
Dan's right. How did you know that?
Because here's the thing about 2005.
He worked at GameStop.
2005 is a year that I will remember every moment of. 2005 is when I moved my life from Massachusetts to Austin and got a job at Game Crazy. So everything from Guitar Hero to the Wii launch is just like burned in my memory. So if you say a game from that era, I'm gonna be like, that's 2005.
I might have guessed
Or
mid
2006.
2000s ish, but
Right.
I would not have confidently.
What do I get? What's my prize?
2005.
I get to
Do you?
keep hosting the show.
That means
right.
that they
There you
did a
go.
game every year.
I think so. It
Because-
was pretty quick.
Well, I was thinking it was earlier than that because in 2007 there was already Guitar Hero 3. Like I remember playing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they busted those things out, and then Rock Band came out soon after. It was
Same
It was a
year,
blitz.
2007. Same as Rock Band or Guitar Hero 3.
Wow.
Yep. Whatever that developer was,
Red Octane.
Harmonix. No, I think it was.
Those Red Octane did the instruments.
Yeah, I think Harmonix.
It
was
is Harmonix.
Yeah, because they quit Activision.
Well, now they're owned by Epic.
Yeah, moved over to whoever did Rock Band. And then, so now it's a whole thing. Whatever. I remember all that ancient history.
Now it's a
we're gonna-
Fortnite deal.
Yeah. We're gonna jump over to our show topic right now. Welcome back. So for today's show, we were kind of like, what do we want to do? We have a few ideas clanking around. We're going to cover something about gaming magazines, but I don't really know what to talk about after Game Informer shut down. So ever since everybody's kind of doing their own thing, we were like, let's just do a roundtable of topics. Everybody has the mic for a bit. They can talk about what they've been playing, some interesting tidbits. And then we have a stacked community couch. Like just some of the best questions we've ever gotten from our community. So we're going to hit all that up right now. And Sam, why don't you start with this roundtable here? You can go ahead and talk about what you were what you've been playing.
Yeah, so
say.
I was kind of, for whatever reason, just looking at my unplayed Steam account games, and I saw Batman Arkham Asylum on there. Now, I've played the game before, but I bought the bundle when it was like on sale. Primarily because at the time, like the bundle was super cheap. It was the 3 Rocksteady games, so you didn't get Origins. But I'd never played Arkham Knight, so I just wanted Arkham Knight. So I bought the bundle and I played through Arkham Knight, like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago or something like that. And so Arkham Asylum has just been in my account with 0 hours played the whole time. But I do remember playing it back in the day on my brother's PS3 when it was new. And I'm like, it'd be worth exploring that. And it's actually, 15 years this year since the game came out. So 15-year anniversary.
It's
kind of weird to think of it as a retro game. But I don't know. In some ways, like compared to the later games, Asylum, because it is like a lot more confined, a lot more linear, does feel almost out of place as a modern game. But on the other hand, like, the newer games feel very modern. And all of that groundwork was laid in the first game off the bat. So really enjoyed it. Wound up just like really honing in on it, and I wound up doing everything. Got all the Riddler trophies, even, which is nice because in Asylum, it's not insane how many there are. The later games, it's just like, why would I even do that? But yeah, and I played on hard mode too, which was pretty fun as well. So the hard mode actually disables the counter icon. So you have to pay a lot more attention to enemies who's going to attack you than just looking for a little blue indicator. Yeah, I think it still holds up really well. A lot that's been said about it, I think, still remains true. Like, I think the boss battles are kind of the weak point of the game, but just the core balancing between exploration and predator mode and just wailing on thugs is just such a nice balance that they just nailed the first time, that it still holds up really well, and it's still a great celebration of Batman. I will say though, like, maybe the thing that aged the most poorly for me is just like the overall like aesthetics of it and designs. Like, it was just trying too hard to be like, Batman is dark and gritty now, because that's
it makes
the
it so hard to see.
Yeah, because this is like right after Batman Begins and Dark Knight. I think before Dark Knight Rises even came out, and like people were very like honed in to like, Batman can't be fun. Batman can't have Robin. Everything needs to be dirty. Like that's what stands out to me. Everything is so dirty. Like, literally just dirty. Like, every character design has been like Joker's jacket is dirty. Like, it's just like, why is everything so dirty?
Because bad guys don't take baths.
Clean it up.
I mean, yeah, they're all insane. Hygiene's probably not great for them, but it's just, I don't know.
An asylum.
I feel like they just over-tuned on that a little bit, but I don't know.
They need a dirty slider.
Yeah.
How dirty do you want? Super dirty?
That'll be on the remaster, don't worry.
Yeah. I have a question because that relates to the boss battle statement that you made, because I feel like and this is just totally my experience, I have this sense that the boss battles being a weak point is kind of a common sort of thread that I've seen in various games. I mean, most notably recently, like Mario Wonder and stuff like that. And I'm just curious if anybody has any thoughts or insight as to like what happens in a game's development when a game is great and beloved, but they just can't, like, the boss battles are just not good. Like, is it just the fact that we're focusing so much on platforming that we sort of miss a bigger, like, one screen moment? Or like what? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it happens a lot in so many games because you have gameplay mechanics and elements that are designed for something that just isn't a boss battle. And
right,
when you decide, because people expect it, like you decide we need a boss battle, like it winds up falling into like a boilerplate, like, dodge this attack this many times in a sequence, then throw a batarang at Poison Ivy, or jump out of the way when Bane charges you.
I feel like beat 'em ups always struggle
until he does it again.
Mm-hmm.
Beat 'em ups always struggle with boss battles because they're usually just like a beefier version of a normal, bad guy from the game.
Yeah.
I feel like with Arkham Asylum, you have a lot more freedom, though.
Especially with like old school beat 'em ups, it's the entire like mechanic of beat 'em ups is balancing multiple enemies on the screen at once. So when you make there just one, and that's why most of them realized what you want to do is add some like respawning henchmen to the scene. Otherwise, you have the ones that just like can't be comboed and just deck you when you're trying to hit them every time. and take your
You know what
quarters.
beat him up? You know what beat him up? Kind of nailed their bosses was Turtles in Time. I mean, you fight Shredder for the first time, and you're throwing bad guys at the screen to fight with. That was like,
Which
okay,
I didn't
that's
realize
cool.
that's just
Yeah.
the Super Nintendo
Yeah.
version.
It's not in the
after
arcade.
playing the arcade. The arcade
Oh,
one
really?
has much less impressive boss battles.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, some of them that are just like sponges, and all they do is just
Most of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just sit there and you hit them and you hit them and you hit them and you hit them until they hit you
Yeah.
across the screen, and then go back and
Repeat.
Put
another quarter in.
Yeah. Well, and then sometimes you have boss battles, especially in platformers, where the boss isn't. You're not gonna it's not gonna win any awards, but it's visually impressive or interesting, and so you kind of give it a pass. I mean, Donkey Kong Country comes to mind with that because you have massive versions of normal boss.
I think the later
characters.
Donkey Kong Country games, though, did a much better job with them.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
The original games are usually just hit it a few times on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some unique mechanic to how to kill them, but they're essentially just larger versions, and they were impressive at the time, and we loved it. But they get a pass because of the visuals, so that's interesting. But I also bring that up because Sly Cooper's hitting me like that. The boss battles are the absolute worst part of that game, like by far, like a long shot. I'm loving this game, but I cringe every time I go to a boss battle because it's just so unimpressive or annoying or not, like it doesn't make any sense. Or
Well, and going back to Arkham, even though it's not Asylum, I still remember it being like pointed out in most of the reviews at the time. But Arkham City had one fantastic boss battle, which is the one against Mr. Freeze, because that one plays out as a Predator encounter. There's still only one guy. But the thing is, every time you use one of the takedowns on him, he doesn't die right away. He just kind of like takes some damage, and then you have to go hide again. And he will develop some countermeasure so you can never take him down the same way. So you have to find 5 different ways to stop him. And actually, when you play it on higher difficulties, you basically have to do like every conceivable thing in that room that can actually knock him down.
Throw the soda can at him.
Awesome. All right, good deal, Sam. Thank you for your rundown on Arkham Asylum and a mini chat about boss battles. The boss battle of your talk was boss battles. So
there you go.
Shannon, do you want to go ahead and go next? You're into Tales of Symphonia, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah. So it's actually, I realized it's 20 years old as, and that seemed to go fast. But Tales of Symphonia is something that it's a game that's pretty special to me based on when I played it and everything. When I first got married, and we actually got a GameCube for a wedding gift, thanks to an incredible, awesome friend of mine.
Dude, I had a Wii U on my registry. I was praying somebody would get it for me, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's what happened. I couldn't believe it. My wife's like, nobody is going to buy us that. And I was like, well,
That's
we'll
what
find
my
that
wife
out. We'll find out.
But she was right.
And so about a little while later, so 2004 is when it came out in the US. And so I was looking for something to play, and I had read about it in Nintendo Power. And I was like, oh, I really like RPGs. Let's try this one. And that's how I fell in love with the Tales of series. There are definitely some that are better than others. But this one, my first love of the series. And so I was actually going to continue because I still have a unfinished Tales of Arise game. And I was going to sit down and play that. And my...
What system is that?
PS5. PS4/PS5. But my son was playing college football on the PS5. So, that's about all he does right now. So I was like, oh, crap. And so then I was like, I wonder how Tales of Symphonia for the Switch, the remaster for the Switch, it had been updated a few times, and it was really rough. I had gotten it last year, and it was probably one of my biggest disappointments because it was full of bugs and just it did not play well. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And so I am happy to say that I jumped into it. It definitely plays better than it did. It is definitely playable now. They got a lot of the bugs, or at least so far that I've seen, have been worked out. The frame rate is smoother. It's still definitely capped at 30. You can tell it is not the same as the 60 it was on GameCube. But it is playable now, and so if anybody got it and set it aside, I do think it's worth going back there. Or, if you have a GameCube, the game is like $20 all day long, pretty much. I mean, it's not very much.
Yeah, it's
$25, I think, for a copy.
Yeah, it caps out at like 30 for a complete box.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, the GameCube version is definitely better in a lot of ways there. But for having it on the go, I'm enjoying that. So I've started a new game on the Switch, and I am playing through that, and it's just bringing back all the memories. I can like quote the lines along with the right along with the voice actors and everything. If you're not familiar with the Tales of series, they're RPGs. The stories always get me. I love the stories, even though you can't really say that they're all that original. And there's definitely tropes and everything in it. It's anime tropes in them and stuff, but it's still a good time. The characters are usually, most of them are endearing. And it's action RPGs. So the battles are like real time. You're going on a field.
Yeah.
It's in Symphonia it's a 3D field. And you can select a button so that you can run sort of freely around the arena. But for the most part, you're just running up to enemies, almost like a semi 2D field. And just wailing on them, trying to combo them. I've never been great at you watch videos online, you see people doing 300 hits, just juggling the enemies and stuff like that. I can't do anything like that, but it keeps me engaged. You do get graded on how you do in a battle based on how long it took you, whether or not how much damage you took, that kind of thing. It's called grade, but it's a number. And at the end of the game, if you can start a new game, and you can use whatever grade, how much you've saved up to unlock, bringing over your weapons or, increasing the amount of experience you get in battles, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
So it does kind of, and I remember playing this on the GameCube, and man, I wanted to 100% the game. And to do that, you have to play multiple times. And there are a few different moments in the game where, depending on some choices you've made with some of the characters, it's a little bit different. You get different dialogue, you get different scenes. So you got to play multiple times. I think I capped out at 4 times, playing it kind of back to back. And it's not,
It's got 2 discs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But back then I could do it. I was newly married, and, I was working and going to school, but any other time, my wife was working, whatever, we couldn't afford a lot of games. So I just keep playing the ones I had. Just like when you're a kid. And so I did. But I'm pretty sure I still have the GameCube. I still have it. I still have the memory card. So I should pop it in and see where I'm at again sometime.
Oh, man.
But
I would give any amount of money to have my original Gotcha Force memory card with my 6 playthroughs.
Right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's those are like time capsules. I should pop that in,
sure.
Pull it up, see what I've got on there, and post it on Discord or something like that, because that's like opening a time capsule. It's a lot of fun.
Man, I love Tales of Symphonia. I remember, I think my brother got it. I think Adam got it and brought it home, and it was something that I didn't really know what it was. We started playing it, and there's a 2-player mode in there, right? It's like a co-op mode.
Actually, I think you play up to 4 even.
And I thought it was such a cool concept. At the time, I likened it to like, oh, it's an RPG, but the battle system's like a fighting game.
Yeah.
Which isn't too far off, but it's not quite as complex as like a Soul Calibur or whatever.
Right.
But that's kind of what I likened it to because we were playing a ton of Soul Calibur at the time. And yeah, heck yeah, like love Tales of Symphonia. I've actually never touched another Tales game like at all.
I've never even finished it, unfortunately. I think I got pretty far. I got to the second disc.
Okay, so you got through that. Yeah, the Tales of games are kind of known for like partway through the story, they'll just like flip, like there'll be a twist and just kind of flips the story on its head. So if you got to the second disc, you at least got to the second or through the twist, the first major twist there. So, but yeah, it's a good time, great time. Love it.
As I think about it, I think because I usually finish my games, but for some reason, I think every GameCube RPG I have, I just don't finish. Same thing. Skies of Arcadia Legends, never finished it. Mega Man X Command Mission, although those other two are much more worth going back to. But it's Mega Man, so I probably will finish it someday.
There you go. You got to stream it sometime.
Oh, if X-Men Legends counts as an RPG, I've finished that one.
Yes. Oh, another good one.
Yeah.
I still think, I mean, they're Diablo-like RPGs. But
yeah, it's definitely action RPG, but then Tales
Gauntlet.
Or Gauntlet, yeah.
Yeah, more Gauntlet.
If Gauntlet's an RPG, X-Men Legends is an RPG.
There you go.
All right, cool, Shannon. Well, thanks for that rundown, Tales of Symphonia. I learned stuff tonight about a game. I need to actually pick a copy up. I don't own it right now. I'm gonna go ahead and go next. So as I mentioned earlier, I purchased a PS2. I never owned a PS2 in my life. I was very much a GameCube kid all the way. And my big brother had an Xbox. And I played PS2 at friends' houses and stuff, but like there was never anything there that I was like, I gotta get a PS2 for this. So anyway, I own a PS2 now. And going through sort of like the endless flood of recommendations that people give you when you buy a PS2, a system with like 2,000 games or something over that. I don't know, it's a crazy amount. I definitely clung to the things that I like in games, 3D platformers and adventure games, some RPGs, and then the staples, the stuff that I know I'm gonna like a Dark Cloud or an Ape Escape or stuff like that. So the three games that I have played are Jak and Daxter. Jak and Daxter I beat fairly recently. I was maybe 10 hours to beat the first Jak and Daxter. And I really, really liked it. Like when I like in my head, I sort of gave it a number score. I was like, it feels like an 8 to me. Just because it is everything that I love about 3D platformers. And if that game had come out on the GameCube, I 100% would have bought it and loved it. So there's no reason for me to be like poo-pooing it because it's a PlayStation game or whatever.
You're beyond that now.
Do what?
I said you're beyond that now.
I'm beyond that. I'm a better man. I'm no longer a PS2 hater. That was mostly a pendulum reaction to people like fawning over it for so long in my life and me being like, guys, like it's not that great. Come on. But yeah, so Jak and Daxter, really, really, really high praise for Jak and Daxter, except for the camera. Now, I venture to say that this is like N64 level of like camera BS in that game. It is awful. It's maddening. There's no up and down camera movement at all. You can't look down on your character or up at a scene. The left and right, as far as I play games, is reversed. So the whole game, I'm like wiggling the camera back and forth to figure out which direction I'm supposed to turn it to look ready to look. That was awful. There are parts of the game where the camera locks behind you in sort of a Crash Bandicoot style, like running segment. Those are not great. I don't like those kinds of segments in games.
It's one of the main reasons I
Usually,
never liked Crash.
Yep, me too.
yeah, well, yeah,
Ugh,
100%.
it's
I'm
awful.
not a fan of Crash Bandicoot in any way, shape, or form. And I actually didn't even know that it was the same developer, because you jump into Jack and like it feels great. It's a 3D, fully realized 3D world platformer. So those are my gripes. But overall, like the world is so well developed and lived in, and unlike Mario 64 where you're like jumping into paintings, or there's like a hub, there's no hub. It's kind of a progressive world where you go through the beach section that leads to the jungle section, that leads to the volcano, that leads to the ice section, and so on and so forth until you get to the end. So it's like it's linear, but it does ask you to warp back to certain sections, to collect more of the collectible thing or whatever. And it is like Mario 64 in that there's no permanent upgrades. It's all just, you just learn how to control Jack the more you play. There are temporary upgrades, and there's like timed upgrades, that kind of thing, puzzle based timed upgrades. But they're kind of far and few between. And yeah, so I would say if you're a 3D platformer fan on a Nintendo console and you've never played the original Jak and Daxter, like it's totally worth playing, especially if you're an N64 fan and you can handle a little bit of camera jank. Like if that doesn't totally steer you away from a game, like 100% you should give Jak and Daxter a try. Now, I haven't played the second one. I have it, and I'm going to jump into it. Apparently, it's totally different. So I guess we're just going to see what that's like. They said, hey, this is great. Let's do something absolutely different. Okay, guys, whatever. So what after I did Jak and Daxter, I jumped into Tokobot for a little bit. I haven't gotten very far. I'm in like the first level or whatever. I beat the first level. Grabbed it on a whim at CGF because it looks awesome. It looks like kind of like a Pikmin style where you have like a main character with a bunch of little characters following him. What it is in actuality is kind of a form-based platformer, where the Tokobot sort of become either like an X or a line or a straight shoot or a circle around you. And it's really clever because in sort of like I guess it's kind of like an Ape Escape style, the button that you press on the face pad of the PlayStation dictates what shape they make: an X, a line, a triangle, or a square. And that kind of dictates like what the shape looks like. And you need those shapes to like climb up or to swing or to protect yourself or to attack. It is a little clunky shifting around between everything. Like you really have to think. You have to. There's like a level of separation between what you're doing on screen and like what I have to think about. I have to do to solve the puzzle or to attack. So it's not a fast game like Jak and Daxter or Mario 64. We just run and jump. It's like, oh, I have to get over this ledge. What form should I use? I guess this one. Let me press the buttons. Then you do it. Then you have to perform it. So it's very puzzle heavy. But this is me playing it for like one level and thinking it was cool. And the aesthetics is very nice. I love how the Tokobots look and sound and all that. It's got a very sort of Pokemon story type like thing where you're a young wizard guy and you have to like dig through this ruin and you find the Tokobot and then they become your friends, whatever. But I look forward to jumping back into it after my jaunt with these 3D platformers is done. Last but not least, I'll talk about Sly Cooper for a second. I'm about halfway through it. Sly Cooper is the most aesthetically pleasing between that and Jack and Tokobot. The character of Sly is awesome. His sidekicks are awesome. The enemies are super unique and cool. The world is really super detailed and wacky, and it feels like you're walking through like a Cartoon Network cartoon from the like late 2000s or early 2000s or something. So aesthetically, like I much prefer that to the weird, edgy, like off-putting characters in Jack and Daxter, which like honestly, like they're so weird. I'm not a huge fan. Sly is super linear. Like it's like you might as well be going into a menu and saying like this level, then this level, then this level. Like there's no overworld to speak of. Once you get into a world, though, it opens up a little bit where it's like you don't have to do the levels in order, and there's a little bit of overworld puzzleization, but and the levels themselves are quite varied. Like you'll go through like kind of like a corridor style platforming sequence, or you'll have to do like a mini game or a racing sequence, and they change it up quite a bit. I got really frustrated at one point, and I almost gave up because there was like in each level you have to collect a certain number of these bottles with secrets in them to get sort of the upgrade in that level, and you don't have to do it, but it makes your playthrough a lot better if you do. And there's one level where like you just can't get them all. Like there's like a thing chasing you, and it does the whole Crash Bandicoot reverse camera, move really fast towards the camera type thing. And you're just not going to get them because they're coming at you too quickly, and there's a thing chasing you that's going to kill you. So you're not going to get it. And I was like, this game, I can't do that. Like, don't do that to me. But I jump back in, and I'm still having fun. So we're okay. Boss battles are awful. They're just like the bosses themselves are kind of cool aesthetically, but the battles themselves are very one note, sort of hit me 3 times and I'm dead, boring. The locations are cool, but what you actually do to defeat the bosses so far, I don't like. But I'm very much looking forward to Sly 2 and 3, who everybody that I talk to say it just gets better and better the further you get in the series. So
I'm really surprised that that's a series that just kind of left off there and hasn't really progressed anymore.
I mean, it got a 4 on PS3, but Jack didn't.
Yeah,
Jack died on PS2. So
I believe though that the 4th game was not developed by Sucker Punch, and it didn't do very well.
Interesting.
Was it like Thieves in Time or something like that?
Because somebody recommended the Sly Cooper games for my son. Because
you're right, it's not Sucker Punch, because Sucker Punch was doing Infamous at the time, I guess.
Yep.
Which Infamous, one of my favorite games of all time, by the way.
Yeah. So I was just always kind of surprised because we were looking at like the PS4 and there just isn't. They didn't even like.
Well, and then Jack and Daxter's the same way. It cut off because they started working on Uncharted and Last of Us.
Well, I mean, and those are a little more successful, so I guess that makes sense.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it. Like, I'm glad they exist and they're cool. It would be really cool to reboot the series. It seems like, Sony's having fun with Astrobot right now. Why can't it be Sly Cooper? That's honestly though, dude, like, it'd be so easy for Sony to get me back. If they did, like, do an Ape Escape 4, do whatever, a Sly Cooper, do some interesting stuff.
Yeah, they kind of, it seems like
do some less gritty, like samey IP that aren't all trying to kill you.
Right.
Like, just
that's really seems what they've just gone for. It's like it's got to be like first person narrative, gritty, action games, and that's like
it's movies you play,
right,
which is what they've gone to, and it's just not my jam. I'm glad people love it. Like, I'm not here to say nobody should like it. I think it's cool.
But I think there's room for both. And I think that's what Nintendo does well, is that, there's enough variety, I think. And I'm the same. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and that's really why I think the PS2 is where I drop off a lot of my appreciation for Sony's consoles, because I think the PS3 is when they moved to that. That's when, Uncharted
Pretty
and
much.
Infamous kind of became the heavy hitters, and I guess that's
I-
not
and
even
I
the
still-
case anymore. But
I still had fun on my PS3 because you had stuff like Fat Princess and like Mod Nation Racers, and there was still a little bit of that DNA there. But
yeah,
eventually,
but
it just
I think that's where it
yeah.
started to fade.
That's the last. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the last
big
of those
time.
types of games.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, I got to pick up a copy of Mod Nation Racers.
The sad thing too is like those cinema-like experiences for games are only so good. Like I struggle to stay focused on them long enough. Like I played the first probably 5 or 6 hours of God of War and fell off, and I probably put about the same amount of time in Horizon and dropped off. I think the last one that I actually stuck with was Ghost of Tsushima, but it's also Sucker Punch. So
Yep.
and that might be why
Sucker Punch really is a special developer.
they're good.
And I can't even like pinpoint what it is about them. All the way back to Rocket Robot on
Rocket,
Wheels, they were doing such unique stuff with the platform. And I wish I jumped on Sly Cooper sooner because I adore Infamous and Infamous 2. Like I destroyed those two games when they came out. Devoured, I guess, is a better word for that. Whatever.
Well, the good news is that we can always go back.
We can always go, and that's why we're
That's
here.
why we're here. That's
so
right.
I'm really enjoying my jaunt through PS2 right now. That's all I got to say, I guess. And then next up, we have John, who's been doing some hardware stuff.
Yeah, I haven't really sat down to play a game like in a while. I think I started Star Ocean whenever I was in Texas at CGF in the hotel room. I played a couple hours of it, and then I haven't went back. I think that was really the last game I sat down and put any real time into. But since then, I've bought a second PS3 at a thrift store for $20.
That's insane.
It needed a disk drive. The disk drive was not working, so I found a disk drive for $30. Replaced that. I bought a terabyte 2.5-inch hard drive. The whole plan for this was that it would be, since I already have a PS3 that is just has all my saves from all my current games on it. This one I would put custom firmware on and just rip my whole library to it. So that's what I did. There's something enjoyable about like putting a disc in and just like loading it in there. I don't know.
It is.
I did the same thing with my Wii. One of them. This all started, I bought a Wii that would not read discs. And I was like, well, this is like the perfect case for like doing a custom firmware on a Wii because it can't read discs anymore. Well, it turns out the whole thing was just full of rust and dead. Like the SD card slot didn't work. The USB ports didn't work. I ended up throwing it in the trash because I couldn't even get into it. So the next time I went to the thrift store, they had a Wii for $20, like everything. So I bought it, and that's the one that I ended up doing the custom firmware on. And I've loaded like almost all my Wii library on there, and then quite a few GameCube games. That one, the disk drive did work. So
I swear John's town is just like perpetually stuck in like 2012. Which just like people just throwing their stuff away, cheap prices on stuff, like whatever.
That same thrift store has been like my Goodwill sucks. Like I still go there quite a bit just to pop in, but there's the other thrift store in town that's pretty good size. There's a couple locations called Red Racks, and I find stuff there like all the time. I bought a PS4 controller the other day for $8 that works. I just cleaned it. I bought a complete in-box Wii for $40. That has Wii Sports and everything in it.
I need a Red Racks in my town. That's
yeah. I bought a PlayStation Move, the direction, not the directional, the actual move controller, the one with the little ball in the end. I bought one for $5 and I had to replace a battery in it.
No.
Yeah, I've just been working on stuff. The PS3 was a little rough, so I painted the top on it. So it's like, and then I'm also working on that. One of our other Discord friends, Shoner Todd, is working on a Pico boot set up for it.
Dude.
So as soon as I get that, I'm going to install that and put some LEDs and stuff in it just for fun, and start loading all my GameCube library onto that as well. Probably play that one.
Shout out to Todd, who's become a favorite community member very quickly. He jumped in recently, and
he was a good he was a good pickup for sure.
Yeah, good dude. Loves doing repairs and stuff. Has a pretty cool collection. So, yeah, shout out to Todd.
Yeah, I met him in.
I don't even know if he listens to the show, but if you do, Todd, you're cool.
I met him through Moses, because Moses started just like a hub Discord for like all content creators.
Yeah.
And he was in there, and we were like, somebody had mentioned he was trying to buy some NES games or something, and I told him I had some. And then I was like, hey, there's a guy in our Discord that usually has like a whole pile of stuff, like if you're looking for particular things. So that's how I got him over. And then, yeah, he's been very helpful, especially in your channel for upkeep and repairs. He knows quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Good dude. Him and Shannon over there in the repair section is very, very, very good to have you there, Shannon, to help me with my CRT stuff. And
well, it's not me.
Xbox.
I wish I could take credit for that, but
no, you're talking about Bozo.
Bozo, yeah.
Oh, but no. Didn't you say something today or yesterday about Xbox?
No, I'm afraid not. I wish I could take credit, but.
Oh, it was Bozo. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say, if you're talking CRTs, Bozo's usually the guy to go to. He knows all kinds of things.
Yeah,
he's got me on the search for a good PVM right now.
I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, dude. Confusing all my members.
Yeah. And then speaking of Todd, the one last thing that I got, he's building basically like a ground up NES for me, a necessity build, like brand new board, everything. I traded him some Turbo CD games, some Ease games for that. So, wow, pretty excited. I bought a translucent NES shell to put it in with my Nintendo drawer and all that. So that's, like I said, I think I've been just doing custom firmware and console upgrade stuff has been more valuable to me than playing games right now. That's like where I've been fitting in at.
That's good though. I mean, there's so many ways to interact with this hobby. There's like no wrong way. I need to do some major upkeep on stuff and like just check boards and see if I need to do any like cap replacements, which I'm so not comfortable starting to do that stuff. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to find a local guy who'll just do it for me and trade him a few games or something to do it, or I don't know. But
one of the things is always replacing your was it CMSO or CMOS batteries, the ones that keep time and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just bought a kit to replace the solder in battery on the GameCube. It just is like a little socket. You can just replace the battery with like a key fob battery, like for your car, instead of having to solder it in every time.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, they probably make the exact same thing for Dreamcast. I've soldered in a lot of those batteries. They're usually dead every time I get a Dreamcast.
Yeah, mine's super dead.
Every time you go to start it up, hey, what day is it?
What day is it? Oh, you don't want to know, dude. Just pretend it's 99.
It's been a while.
It's still 1999. Don't even. Nothing's happened. You're fine. Dreamcast is killing it.
Yeah. I feel like I've replaced one and it's already died since I've replaced it. Like, that's how quick they go.
Yeah. Well, and those VMU batteries
Oh,
are
yeah.
just they just die in a day. They're terrible. I have a stack of the new ones. I bought like a bulk of them because I knew they just die and die and die.
Yeah, you're almost
Not that
better
I carry
off
my VMUs with
not
me.
putting one in there because I think
I know, right?
the saves are hard in, right, and then
saves aren't battery back.
It's just the little things on there that it keeps track of.
It's actually kind of wild that most cartridge batteries last as long as they do, because I think they were only ever intended to last like 10 years max.
Yeah, man.
I've got lots that still work. I've still got a couple of NES batteries that are still kicking.
Oh, I don't know that I've ever replaced an NES battery. All my games still work just fine.
I need to get my Pokemon Blue done. I know that one's about to fry.
I've got Game Boy. I've got more. I've got a few Game Boy that I need to replace.
I feel like Game Boy Advance is the time period where the batteries were not very good. A lot of Game Boy
I've
Advance
replaced more
die.
Game Boy Advance than Super Nintendo or Game Boy stuff.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. It's like every Pokemon game you ever get that's Game Boy Advance, you might as well just replace the battery as soon as you get it. You're going to be disappointed when you go to save later. Oh, my Charizard.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I mean, thank God for GB for the GB
operator. Yeah, you can do your saves.
That saves my butt. All right, I have a question for you guys. I think we should end the episode and do another episode next week where we just do these community couch questions.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's already over an hour and it's 11 p.m. at my side. I know Sam's pushing midnight now.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and let's do one community couch tonight and we'll hit the rest of these on a special episode next week. That sound good to everyone?
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right. Rock and roll. The first question we got was from SNES is Life over in our Discord. One of our favorite members. Definitely a good streamer and YouTuber if you want to check out his SNES content. His question, he has two questions, and we'll do them one at a time and as a round table. We've got your favorite childhood game. Now, if you know me for any amount of time, you already know what I'm going to say. That's Donkey Kong Country. So I'm going to go ahead and say, John, what's your favorite childhood game?
It's probably Ogre Battle, but Pokemon's probably got to be a close second. The original Gen 1.
All right. Shannon?
It's like picking a favorite child. Any given day, it's gonna either be Legend of Zelda or Super Mario Brothers 3. So, whichever day of the week it is, it's gonna be one of those two.
Right.
Now, is that favorite game when I was a child or favorite game that I played when I was a child? Because those are different answers.
I think we're all still children, Sam.
Although probably either way, it's probably still Mega Man X.
There you go.
Mega Man X. Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I couldn't beat it, so maybe not. If you asked like 11-year-old Sam or like 9-year-old Sam, what's your favorite game? I probably would have just said like whatever game I'd just played, honestly. But
for sure,
maybe like Paper
when
Mario for the N64 or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dan, I thought your favorite game was Garfield Caught in the Act for the Sega Genesis.
Good Lord. I'm just going to move on.
I think I sent you that game,
The second
didn't I?
part to this question is favorite generation of console. And we'll go ahead and we'll just go backwards on that one. Sam, favorite generation of console right now?
Definitely the 16-bit era. I mean, I've said as much before. Super Nintendo is my favorite, and I've been discovering a lot of good stuff on the Genesis, even on the TurboGrafx. So,
yeah, right on. Shannon, favorite generation of console?
Probably going to. I probably have to give it to the Super Nintendo as well. 16-bit. It's hard not to go with the NES though too, because that was just the staple of growing up at that time. Yeah, I'll go with the Super Nintendo. I mean, honestly, probably the best is probably the Switch because we have so much of every other generation part of it.
Right.
But that's probably cheating. So
people say it's fine. All right, John, favorite generation of console.
So if I look back, like with, rose tinted glasses, I would probably say the N64 was when I had the most fun, just because that's when multiplayer kind of like exploded, and like it was whenever you had all your friends over and you could play 4-player GoldenEye and all that, everything was 4 players. But if I'm playing by myself, probably Game Boy is probably my favorite. Like I've probably sunk the most time into Game Boy than any other console. And that's probably because it was there for like 12 years, but it was also like whenever you're just sitting somewhere, that's what you're playing. If I had to think.
That's a good answer.
That's a good answer. Game Boy is solid, man. I wasn't even thinking that. Dang. I'm going to stick to mine, though. My favorite generation of console, like it goes back and forth for me quite a bit, but if I were to answer today, honestly, it's got to be GameCube. I think that GameCube has the highest concentration of like top tier Nintendo IP games, and some that died on the GameCube and never came back. Some that were started on the GameCube, like Pikmin, that are some of my favorite games of all time now. I mean, you run the gamut.
It's not on the GameCube.
What?
You said it's not on the GameCube?
What?
Donkey Kong. Like a traditional Donkey Kong game.
You got Jungle Beat, dude.
It's not traditional. Come on. That's not your favorite Donkey Kong game.
I know, but it's still a really great Donkey Kong game. I'm not mad at the game. You're not going to get me in a gotcha on this one. Like, I love Jungle Beat. Jungle Beat's up there for me.
Well, I'm just saying,
Jungle Beat's better.
Ever since Donkey Kong Country came out, there's been one on every console but the GameCube.
No.
Like home console,
no.
yeah.
Super
Nintendo.
Every console except the 3DS and the Switch has had an original Donkey Kong game for that console. Period.
Yeah.
Jungle Beat and Donkey Konga are both Donkey Kong games.
But those are not like...
Jungle Beat is a rhythm platformer. I don't care. I don't want to hear it, John.
Just because it has his name on it doesn't mean that...
Yes, it does. What do? You run left and you jump and clap. It's a platformer.
That's how you play Donkey Kong Country, too.
That's it.
He jumps and claps his controller.
Woo! I'm having such a good time. I gotta clap. I gotta give him a round of applause. You jerk. I don't care, dude. Whatever. I'm talking about GameCube. Shut up. No, I think it has the highest concentration of like top tier Nintendo IP. My favorite Zelda is on there. F-Zero GX is crazy. It's missing like a solid 3D Star Fox game, but I do really enjoy Star Fox Adventures and Assault. I mean, what else? Dude, I'll just look up here and just name them all off. Metroid Prime, like boom. There's so much good stuff on the GameCube. I think that's the generation where I had the most disposable income as well and time. So I was just like burning through games on the GameCube. I loved it. So it got to be GameCube for me. John, I love you, but get off my podcast. All right, let's. I think that's going to wrap up this episode. We are going to pick up the rest of these community couch questions because they were such good questions and they deserve their own spotlight. So we're going to hit those up next time. With that being said, thanks for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, you can check me out on Twitter at retrologic.games. You're also welcome to jump into our Framly? Did I just say Framly? And 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link to that is in my Twitter bio, or you could just DM me or somebody you know who's in it and we'll give you a link or whatever. You can also find everything, including the link to the Discord, at our website, retrologic.games. That's it for our show this week, guys. Thanks for hopping in. See y'all later.
Bye now.
Good night.
Goodbye.